Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing your daily Walking Dead video for today, leading up to the start for The Walking Dead Season 8. In this one, we're going to go ahead and break down, going to sort of, not really a review, but we're going to throw it back to the Walking Dead comic book series version of All Out War. Going to go through the entire thing and give my thoughts on it as a double story arc, a double volume arc, and also give my thoughts on how it might be translated and what we can expect to see for Season 8 based on it. And pretty big spoiler warning for this one, as we're going to be going through, going to give my thoughts on both parts of All Out War leading into The Walking Dead Season 8. So spoiler warning for the comics, this one will contain spoilers. If you do not want to know anything about the events of All Out War and what we can expect to see and how it turns out in the comic book series version, then this video may not be for you. The reason why I want to do this one is because I usually kind of dance over it. I usually don't kind of go into the details of exactly what happens during All Out War in the comics and the resolution of it. So how the battle between Rick and Negan actually ends and all the little details of it. I usually skip over it. And this one I'm not going to. So spoiler warning for the comics, possible spoiler warning for the TV series. Should they follow the same path, should it be basically the same thing, then you're going to know how that all works out. And from the comic book series version, if they don't change it. So the volume prior, March to War, which we've seen most of in The Walking Dead Season 7. Most of it has already been adapted, but there are a few parts of it that haven't been adapted. So the majority of that is like what we saw at the mid-season finale of Season 7 with the death of Spencer. We get some Kingdom stuff in here. We get a few kind of random things that we got to see throughout The Walking Dead Season 7 already. But there is one kind of battle in here where Rick attempts to basically shoot Negan, but is kind of here it is right here, the Blam page. So this is pretty cool where Rick tries to shoot him. There's actually a pretty good line before it where he talks about, you ever hear the one about the guy who brought a baseball bat to a gunfight? Effer. Rick calls him an effer. Love it. And then blam, but then it's actually Rick who gets it blown out of his hands. So I guess you could kind of say, in a way, because of the explosives, they kind of adapted that with the Junkyard group because they almost pulled the explosives, but then it didn't work. So you could kind of say, like, that's the TV series version of that. It wasn't exactly the same, though. But for the most part, let's just say the majority of this was already adapted. There's like a second lineup, which we did kind of see in the TV series version here, as well in Season 7, and then the speech at the end, which we kind of saw, but not really. So majority of this has been covered in a different way. It wasn't exactly the same, but it was adapted. So now we get into the good stuff, which is All Out War Part 1, All Out War Part 2, which is really what this video is all about and what we're really looking at. So the events of All Out War. So Part 1, very cool. We've got them kind of the shooting gallery going on here at the Sanctuary, which is really cool. Again, this part we have not seen adapted yet for the Walking Dead TV series with Rick and all the others blasting away at the Sanctuary. You got Rick with kind of the blam, waking them up, letting them know that they're there, and really exciting stuff. So we've got Rick waking up. He's with Andrea, and they're kind of waking up, getting ready for the day. It's going to be a big day. We've got Ezekiel and Michonne. They're getting up. They're getting ready. In the comic book series, Michonne and Ezekiel were already together at this point. TV series version, we haven't really seen that. Looks like Carol will probably be taking that on. And then we've got them kind of all getting together, getting ready, heading out, and then blam. Really cool. So this really we have not seen adapted. This is fresh stuff that we're going to see for the TV series version that hasn't been. Really exciting stuff. So really love this one. So you've got them all kind of ready there, firing off, letting them know that that they've arrived, that they're there at the Sanctuary. Quite a bit of manpower there. Negan, show yourself, and Negan is pretty surprised to see all the people that show up there. So this, I'm thinking like this would be probably the Walking Dead Season 8 premiere. I would like to think. So then we have basically the shooting gallery kind of starts. Negan has Gregory, which could also be adapted pretty easily too, because Gregory has kind of left as of the Season 7 finale. So that we have a few Kingdomers that kind of surrender because of Gregory and that Negan actually has him and that still care about him. And then Negan kind of kicks him off, which he does. He does survive it, but it's kind of funny to see. Then we have kind of the gunfight that ensues, the gun battle that goes off, and all kinds of absolute craziness. Characters getting blasted. Lots of survivors being killed off at this point. Just an all-out shooting gallery. Really exciting. You got like pings all over the place from the truck. They're kind of behind the bus, shooting up, pin them down, firing in at them, blasting through a lot of the windows. Negan and the others kind of running. Dwight kind of in there in the mix there, and then we have a whole bunch of zombies that kind of head towards the sanctuary. So this one, oh man, this should be really exciting. I'm thinking this is episode 100. Like if you're thinking about it, you're saying, okay, what are they going to use for episode 100? It's pretty hard to beat this. If you want to make a statement with episode 100 that The Walking Dead is not dead, even though the ratings went down in season 7, the show is not dead. This is how you have to do it. So I'm looking forward to the trailer in when we get it in July to see what they have for The Walking Dead season 8. But that's what I want to see in the premiere, basically. I want to see, huge zombie herd coming in. Rick and the others, because of the zombie herds coming through, they're kind of forced to leave. They can't really fight in front of them with the saviors when you have this humongous herd coming up ready to sidesweep you. So in this version, you have Holly who goes in. We saw that with Sasha, and they kind of adapted that in their own way, which I thought it worked out good. It was good to see all that. And that part is basically something that we did see for the most part. It's not exactly the same because there was a part where Negan thinks that Holly is with Rick. So Negan actually thinks that Holly, or Sasha in the TV series version, I suppose, was with Rick. They never adapted that. But here's a whole herd of zombies coming through towards the sanctuary right here. Doesn't the TV series version of Sanctuary look very similar? It looks really similar to the comic book series. So they did a good job on that. Something I haven't really noticed until, looking at them in particular, the comparison. So we got Shiva, we got a whole bunch of zombies. Of course, Negan has the outpost as well, too. You've got Rick and the others to kind of go in. Negan and the others kind of coming out and smashing down a whole bunch of zombies, starting to take care of the zombies that are outside of the sanctuary. But it's pretty bad. It's like a whole field of zombies, like a whole sea of zombies. So they're forced to go back in and close the door. So it's pretty exciting stuff. We had the part with David trying to rape Holly, which we saw in the TV series version with Sasha adapted. So there was that, and that part was pretty much verbatim, where Negan kills him with the knife, and you see him dead there. It is pretty much exactly the same as far as that goes. All right, going on from there, we've got some stuff with Gregory returning to the hilltop. You've got Maggie kind of giving him an earful, which will be cool to see. I'm thinking that would probably be like episode 2 or 3 or something like that from season 8, or maybe it could be later on. I believe in Rick Grimes. This is a pretty cool splash page, right? I believe in Rick Grimes, she says. So that's cool. Let's see what else we got. Where's my dad? You've got a lot of fighting still going on here all throughout, pretty much. You've got some of the outposts being attacked, Negan's different outposts. Those will probably take up a couple of episodes. The kingdom going in, and Ezekiel, Shiva saving him. And then that's the part, like I said, this is spoilers, so this video is spoilers, so just get it. So Shiva dies. So that's a pretty big one right there, where you see Ezekiel right here, Shiva dying. The TV series version, it makes a lot of sense to kill Shiva off, because doing the CG is always hard. It's costly, and it's cool to see a tiger like that in the show, and it was cool to see her in the season 7 finale, but I wouldn't anticipate seeing her all the way through the show. It's difficult to do. So either she fades into the background or she's killed off. We'll see if it's at the same part or if she lasts longer and she's just kind of kept around as a background thing. But I would not be surprised if we saw the death of Shiva in this upcoming half, Walking Dead Season 8's first half. So we got that. He's sad. Michonne kind of smacks him around a bit for being upset. And, a lot of this we still haven't seen adapted yet. Rick and the others return. And then we've got Negan and the others kind of come back. They attack back to Alexandria, kapow, and you've got kaboom. You've got grenades. So Negan and the Saviors use the grenades to kind of throw the grenades into Alexandria. They're blowing up. We didn't get to see that part really adapted, but we did get to see the Holly or the Sasha zombie part, which they adapted in their own kind of way. So there's that, and there's Heath getting smoked, which is cool. So can we say that we really saw an equivalent of that nobody getting their leg blown off, no. So we might still see something with that in the TV series. That was a pretty shocking part as well, too, when he does get his leg blown off. And it's part of what makes it very, very exciting, I want to say. Also pretty cool is the part where Dwight goes rogue, or he takes the other side, he starts blasting them in the back of the head. So he goes around and he kind of shooting galleries them, and then Jesus is like, the hell? And Dwight's like, I'm on your side, have you forgotten? Basically lets him know that he's shooting them from the outside. He's taking them from behind. So really useful there for them. Kaboom, you've got Rick and Rick, Carl, Andrea here, and the whole place. Alexandria is on fire. So we'll see with that how that ends up being adapted, and if that ends up being like a different part of the battle, because that part we haven't really seen yet. And then Rick and the others are forced to kind of, or Negan and the others are forced to kind of retreat, so to speak. So that will also be really exciting to see. Negan and the others leave because they figure the Saviors leave at the end of the first part because they figure that Alexandria is down and the whole place is, on fire. The fire is going to be uncontrollable. Of course, in the zombie apocalypse, you can't call the fire department. So, fire like that's going to be, it's going to be bad. So they leave it there. So it's kind of like Rick and the others' first battle. They go after as All Out War, part of All Out War. They go to the sanctuary. They press in. The sanctuary gets hurt. You have all the zombies come in, so they leave, and then the Saviors push back to Alexandria, do a ton of damage, figure they're done, and then they kind of retreat or leave back after their attack without either side really digging in and eliminating the other side 100%. So back and forth battle. So survivors push this way, Saviors push this way, and then we get to All Out War Part 2. So Part 2, this is all basically new stuff. I can't wait to see how they adapt all of this in the TV series. It's quite a bit, and again, they could probably use it for at least the first half of The Walking Dead Season 8 with this part. So now we've got Rick and the others kind of recuperating from what happened. You've got some of the different outposts. You got Eugene in here, and some of the others, the Saviors. Okay, let's see. Rick kind of recuperating after that big attack, meeting up with the others, and then they leave. So they basically leave Alexandria. Here's Rick here, and they're all kind of leaving. Because it's just not, it's kind of destroyed after the grenade attack from the Saviors and Negan, the Saviors' most recent attack on them. So they leave that, they go to the hilltop, and it turns out that the final battle takes place at the hilltop. You've got both sides prepping. This one's pretty cool. We'll have to see how this one gets adapted too. You've got Negan, who basically has the idea that they gunk up all their weapons with zombie guts and zombie blood. So they go through, and he takes Lucille and the others, and they gunk them up with all kinds of stuff. You've got flies flying around Lucille, that kind of deal here. You've got all the others gunking up all their weapons, because what they're thinking is that during the battle, during the final battle of the war, if they injure somebody with any of their weapons, they would, become ill, become zombies, because the zombie blood is on their weapons, and thus it would get into them and get into their system, and then they would die from either, the infection or the virus, the zombie virus. It turns out that strategy doesn't really seem to work so far as I took away from it. It, of course, having a dirty weapon, could cause someone to get an infection, but it seems that from the battle that whoever is affected by the gunked up weapons, it doesn't seem to make them become a zombie just because you get stabbed with something that has zombie blood on it or something of the sort. I guess it has to be passed through a bite like saliva, something like that. So we have basically the beginning of the final battle here. You have Cal getting shot there, going off the wall at the hilltop. You've got Negan and the Saviors going in. That's it. They're going in for the final kind of hurrah. You've got the truck taking it down. So Negan says, take it down. They go right through the hilltop wall, which will be wicked cool to see. Then you've got Rick and everybody with their guns, fighting back. You've got some bikers here, which is pretty cool. The Saviors coming in. And man, just all kinds of back and forth craziness. This is one of my favorite ever. Negan comes in and he says, right here, he says, let's bust some motherfucking heads. You pricks are going to wish you were face down in that MFing dirt surrendering. So it's just a pretty badass line that he says as they all kind of charge in. I really like that one. Let's bust some MFing heads. This part is really big too. This is one of the most exciting parts of The Walking Dead ever as well. You have Rick, who gets shot by a bolt that that was gunked up so far as we know. So Dwight's kind of hesitant on it, but Negan and Dwight kind of flanked him, so they do it, and he does shoot him. He shoots him kind of in the side, in a spot where they're able to survive from it. And Rick does end up surviving. So actually, my bad, that's not the final battle, because they actually get into the house. They're able to kind of survive in there, and Rick is able to kind of heal, but it's not kind of over. The Saviors kind of come back a bit because they've all kind of gone into the big house at the hilltop. And then we see, let's see, Rick and the others are kind of burning up. Rick doesn't look good. This was an exciting part because we weren't sure if Rick was going to survive or not. And he did. He did end up surviving it. It was good to see because then we got to see the final battle here. So it's kind of like the continuation. Once Rick is kind of mostly healed up, he approaches Negan by himself, kind of one-on-one, and he kind of talks some sense into Negan and tells him that we could have set up like free trade, we could have done things like this, we could help each other, it doesn't have to be this dominant type of society, tyrannical type of society where you have the Saviors at the top and everybody else kind of feeds up to them in this kind of manner. They could kind of trade back and forth and do it that way instead, and it could have been okay. Negan thinks about it, and then Rick kind of quickly goes to attack him and gets him with a knife on the throat. And he starts to kind of bleed out. They get into kind of the last kind of battle between Rick and Negan. Negan takes him down, kicks him around. Rick fights back. You've got back and forth fighting between them. And eventually Negan breaks Rick's leg. So he gets him in kind of a leg lock, I want to say, and breaks his leg by pushing. The art, to be honest, it should be the other way around. Like you should sit under and pull back. That way you get your leverage. And if you're gonna break someone's leg, you wouldn't do it by pushing this way. You do it by wrapping around and using your leverage, leaning back and popping it out, or breaking it right around there. But anyway, he breaks his leg, really brutal, and then he basically. You've got Negan bleeding out from the cut earlier, so he passes out from the blood loss. And then the finale, so to speak, is Dwight comes up, shows that he's basically a survivor at this point and not really a savior. He takes Lucille, raises her, and says, stand down, put away your weapons, and calm down. This war is over. Negan has fallen. If you want to survive, you will follow me as you followed him. And that's pretty much it. Now, the surprising part at the end is where Negan is basically dying, and you would expect for Rick to want to kill him because of the promises that he's made in the TV series even more times than he did in the comics. But surprisingly, I guess it's a twist. Right here, Rick says, you save his life. So he wanted to save Negan at that point. He instructed them. He made sure that they saved Negan, and then Rick goes out basically to give a speech and to kind of let everybody know that the war's over, they won. Here's Negan, he's down. Rick and the others triumphant, and Rick says to Negan, "You're awake, aren't you?" And then Negan responds, he's confused, he doesn't understand. And then Rick says, "Now we rebuild. We're going to undo all the damage you did, and with you out of the way, we're going to thrive. I'm going to keep you alive. I'm going to make you watch what we become so that you can see how wrong you were, how much you were holding us back. You're going to rot in jail until you die, and old man Negan, you're effed," as he looks down on him. That's it. So that's what he says right there. And that's it for both volumes of The Walking Dead, All Out War Parts 1 and Part 2. I mean, it's goddamn epic. I mean, it's some of the most action in the entire series. All Out War Part 2 with the final fight between Rick and Negan is pretty amazing. I really like how, Rick kind of forces him to stay alive in order to kind of show him that he was right. It's kind of like if he does die, if he bleeds out and he's just gone like that, it's kind of like with the series, so many characters have died, and so many do die all the time, that that is maybe a fate that Negan maybe deserves to see how wrong he was, and Rick wants to show him how you can do things the right way and lead communities and build society in a way where you can be fair to everybody, you can have free trade set up, and everybody can work and be a part of a joint community, and it can thrive together, without doing kind of the leading by fear and doing the things that Negan did in order to keep everybody in line. Create a society where everyone wants to contribute, everyone does, and the society does even better as a result than if you had a Negan savior type of system like they had prior to the war and everything. So man, it's fantastic. We'll have to see how they end up adapting all of this, but the final battle, I mean, just to think of the TV series version, that is going to be so sweet to see Andrew Lincoln and JDM kind of fight it out back and forth, hand to hand. Can you guys picture like JDM having his leg and like breaking his leg? That's going to be sweet, man. I can't wait to see that. That is going to be so funny. It'll be cool to see how Eugene works in all of this, and just how this all goes down, man. All out war. Like what I say, some people say, Trev, you say every year it's going to be like the best season ever, but I mean, maybe I have said that quite a few times, but really this time, I mean, this is for real, right? Really this time, I've said it before, this is the best part of The Walking Dead, I think. Even up until now, even with the stuff afterwards, Whisper War and all the other stuff they do, All Out War, I think, is the most epic. I mean, the build-up, wanting to see the group get revenge on Negan for what happened in the Season 7 premiere, for killing not just Glenn, but also Abraham in brutal fashion too. I mean, it's just it's set up so well. He's set up as such a brutal, awesome villain, and I just cannot wait to see all these final battles go down, all the character deaths, all the excitement. All Out War is going to be amazing. As far as the comic book series version goes, I think it's about as epic as The Walking Dead has ever been. It's about as close to like a climax of a movie that The Walking Dead maybe has ever had. The Walking Dead's had a lot of different, climaxes per volume and, or per section, so to speak, depending on, kind of what section you're in of The Walking Dead. But really, I think, Rick and the others defeating Negan, beating the Saviors, and kind of assimilating them to where Dwight would be in charge, and they would kind of, contribute to the communities as well, is, it's like the ending of a movie. It's like the finale or the final most exciting part of any movie you go to see. It's like that last hour, so to speak. Of course, the story doesn't end there. There's more afterwards, but I think this is the highest, climax part. It's the most climactic part in all of The Walking Dead, I want to say. So yeah, man, I can't wait for The Walking Dead Season 8. It's going to be incredible. And if you want to know, what happens in the comic book series version, for those of you guys who haven't bought it, which I know is most of you, to be honest, that's cool. But I wanted to do this for you guys so you kind of knew what happened in the comic version, so that you kind of know what to look forward to in the I mean, how epic is that going to be to see Negan and Rick fight it out hand to hand? Like, that's going to be awesome, man. I can't wait to see it. This half, man, it's coming up probably before the holidays this year, starting in October, of course. So that'll be it for today's video, guys. I hope you liked it. If you did, you guys know what to do to support the channel. You got to thumb it up. You have to do that if you want to see more videos. You got to thumb it up to let me know that it's that's what you want to see. And send me other video suggestions, guys. Send me questions for the Q&A. We'll do another one probably tomorrow. And have yourselves a fantastic day, guys. I hope you liked it. This comic book explained. I could do more of these if you want to see for some of the other volumes of The Walking Dead. I definitely want to do one for this one because it's the best. It's the best of them all, I think. So yeah, and if you're new to the channel, subscribe. Bottom left. That's it for this one today, guys. I'll see you guys again tomorrow for another video. As always, it's Trev, and I'm saying peace. Later, guys. I'll see you soon.